Hello, I'm Laura. It's January 24th, 2026, and these are the Saturday Heartlines. The Saturday Heartlines are a reflection on the theme and topics of the past week, to look at the big picture of the past week and see what message arises for us today. And that is our theme of this past week, the big picture. Only we are looking at the big picture that is inspired by humanity's ability to expand our awareness into the universe and into ourselves and our humanity. And we are looking at the big dream of Martin Luther King Jr. All of these inspire us and give us a bigger perspective on life. In fact, we started with Sunday and a literal big picture made of 3.2 billion pixels on the camera that is at the Vera Rubin Observatory. And it takes big pictures of our universe that are filled with beautiful, detailed images of the galaxies and stars that tell us we live in a universe of possibility. On Monday, we looked at Martin Luther King Day and the big dream he had of the worthiness of every human being to experience freedom and equality, and to know that that freedom and equality is sourced by divine love, which is an expansive love we can have for ourselves and for each other. On Tuesday, we looked at the big picture of wisdom, the wisdom of spirit and science and self-care when it comes to our own health and well-being. And these days, with all that is happening in our world, it is important for us to have a sense of greater health and well-being in the midst of all of that. The Wednesday Heartwarmer brought us into the big picture of the heart of the people and the dream we have collectively of peace. On Thursday, we looked at the big picture of time, and we used Iraq as an example, the country that was in such turmoil 10 and 15 and 20 years ago, and how it is finding its way back to its own health and well-being as businesses are booming, schools are expanding in their education, and voter turnout at the elections is increasing, and how Iraq is actually beginning to inspire other countries that are currently struggling with war and violence. On Friday, we looked at the storms of life with the incoming great storm that is predicted here in the United States, and with the great storm that went through the Mediterranean, and how even when storms upset our whole lives, even when we experience loss in the midst of a storm, we can hold on to the big picture that this too shall pass. So here we are today. And what is the message arising for us today? It is the big picture of time and shared insight that brings us hope, and the hope that awakens our faith in a greater outcome, and how our faith in a greater outcome brings strength and wisdom in the present moment. So when we find ourselves in the midst of the storms of life, we can have that hope in the greater outcome that brings us faith, wisdom, and strength in the present moment. And we are going to awaken to that possibility right now with a special time of quiet contemplation as we take a deep breath and and close our eyes and focus on this thought. I find strength and wisdom in the present moment by hoping for what is possible and having faith in a greater outcome. I find strength and wisdom in the present moment by hoping for what is possible and having faith in a greater outcome. And so it is. So, whatever the condition of life might be, it might be a wonderful condition that we are experiencing in this moment, and we can still hold hope for a greater outcome. Have faith that it is unfolding right now. And if we're in the midst of a storm of life or a literal storm like you might be experiencing even as you're watching this, if you live in the United States, you can know that this too shall pass and a greater outcome is unfolding. And for those who have not made it through the storms that they found themselves in the midst of, they are still with us. Their own storms might be long past, but their legacy stays with us to help us in the midst of whatever we are facing in life today. This is how we get the big picture, by standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before, and by having hope and faith in the possibility that is yet to unfold, that helps us with strength and wisdom in the present moment. Thank you for joining me in this present moment, and have a wonderful day.